This is an English guide to learning Swedish.
Welcome to the noun final. I've thought a lot about how to do this, and I'm not completely satisfied with the results, but this is the best I can come up with. I have taken parts of the Swedish short story Stefan Who Exchanged His Toy Car by Hans Alfredsson and removed some of the nouns. The challenge is for you to put them back in. I will start by reading one part in English to give you the context of the story. I will then read the same part in Swedish, but with some nouns translated to English. Then we will set the story aside and translate these English nouns to Swedish with a proper inflection. I will give you the stem noun, the gender, and the declination. We will then go on to the next part of the story. There's roughly 35 unique words or phrases in this video. So here comes the first English part. Once upon a time there was a boy named Stefan. He would be 6 years old on the 7th, and he had a large box in his room, and he had all his toys in that box. All the way down at the bottom there was a little toy car, one of those dinky toy cars, yellow, Chrysler, 1960s model, although one of the rubber wheels was missing right back. Well, it was possible to play with it anyhow, and one day Stefan put his Chrysler in his pocket and went to the Arrow Pond Park and built a garage in the sandbox there. A large and stylish garage with 4 entrances and a broad road going in large turns, up and down across the entire sandbox almost. Okay, so now I will read the same part but in Swedish, but with some nouns replaced for the English noun. Det var en gång en boy som hette Stefan. Han var 6 years på det 7:e och hade en stor box i sitt rum. Och i that box hade han alla sina toys. Allra längst ner i the box låg en liten toy car. En sån där liten dinky toy car. Gul Chrysler 1960 years model. Fast att det ena gummihjulet fattades höger bak. Nå, den gick att leka med i alla fall, och en dag tog Stefan sin Chrysler i The Pocket och gick till Pildammsparken och byggde ett garage in the sandbox där. Ett stort och stiligt garage med 4 entrances och en bred road som gick i stora turns. Upp och ner över hela the sandbox nästan. Now we will set the story aside and look at the marked nouns from this section. I will not read them out, but you can pause the video and pick out a pen and paper or whatever and inflect them properly. The Swedish words listed is just the stem noun, and so it might or might not need to be changed. The declinations listed are in accordance with my previous video on this. I will add a link to that video in the description. Alright, let's continue with the next section. Then another boy showed up. His name was Roy, and he had a very fancy train made out of wood, a lot bigger than Stefan's tiny Chrysler. But despite this, Roy found that the car looked very pretty. He stood long and watched while Stefan drove around on his broad road with his small car and growled with his mouth to sound like a real car, and also sounded its horn and sounded like when the wheels screech in the curves. But Stefan looked through the corner of his eyes on Roy's train, and he thought, yeah, it would be pretty fun to have that train. Then I can build a railway instead. So after a while he said loudly, "Hey, boy, you wanna switch?" Yes, and so they switched. Stefan took the nice train and began to slowly walk homewards. Roy got the car and also inherited the garage and the road in the sandbox. So now, the same section in Swedish. Så kom en annan boy dit. Han hette Roy och han hade ett mycket snyggt train av trä. Mycket större än Stefans lilla Chrysler. Men ändå tyckte Roy att the car såg så fin ut. Han stod och tittade länge medan Stefan körde omkring på sin breda road med sin lilla car och brummade som en riktig car med munnen och tutade också och lät som när däcken skriker i The Curves. Men Stefan kikade i ögonvrån på Roys train och så tänkte han, jo, nog rätt kul att ha that train. Då ska jag bygga en järnväg istället. Så han sa till slut högt, du, grabben, ska vi byta? Ja, så bytte de. Stefan tog that fina train och började sakta gå hemåt. Roy fick the car och övertog också the garage och the road i the sandbox. Okay, so again, I'm gonna list all the nouns, and some nouns may be reoccurring. That's nice for you, and you have less to do. So you might want to pause the video, and here they are. Okay, this is a bit later in the story. Stefan got a pretty book from Grandma instead, The Yellow Brigade's Heroes, which Stefan's mother's brother had owned when he was young. Stefan bowed and thanked and went homewards. But there were not that many pictures in the book, and those that were in there looked a little bit grim. There were mostly letters, and Stefan couldn't read. Yeah, I'm gonna make another skip and jump to essentially the end. So he went to the Arrow Pond Park and sat down on a bench and tried to make a necklace, but his hands were fumbling and he dropped the plastic balls constantly. Roy came up to him and looked at him and said, no, this is how you're supposed to do, and he showed Stefan. Stefan looked over at the small yellow Chrysler that Roy had put down on the bench. You wanna switch? He asked. All right, said Roy, and they switched. And with that, Stefan went home and put back his little car at the very bottom of the toy box. Okay, so these two sections in Swedish now. Stefan fick en fin bok av mormor istället. The Gula Brigade's Heroes, som Stefans mother's brothers hade haft när han var liten. Stefan bockade och tackade och gick hemåt. Men det var inte så där mycket bilder i that book och de som var såg lite hemska ut. Det var mest letters och Stefan kunde inte läsa. And the end section. Så han gick till Pildammsparken och satte sig på en bench och försökte göra ett halsband. Men han var lite fumlig i the hands och tappade the plastic balls ideligen. Roy kom fram till honom och tittade på honom och sa, nej, så här ska du göra. Och så visade han Stefan. Stefan tittade på det lilla gula Chrysler som Roy hade lagt ifrån sig på the bench. Ska vi byta? Frågade han. All right, sa Roy. Och så bytte de. Och så gick Stefan hem och stoppade ner sin lilla car allra längst ner i the toy box. Okay, so here comes the final nouns. And that was about it. I will present the correct answers in the next episode. I might have them in the video or I might post them in the description, so look at both places. I haven't decided yet. Next time we will start looking at verbs, and I haven't decided yet, but there's probably gonna be some kind of introduction. See you next time. Thank you for listening.